speaking from my own experience then. Well, it's interesting because my father died when I was 2. I've always had a sense of the fragility of life. For me, it just seems like suffering and loss and pain is just woven into the fabric of life. I'm not usually surprised then when bad things happen. It's not like, well, why me? So that's always been sort of a part of my view of life that there's nothing permanent in this world, with intrinsic permanence to it. So I'm not usually surprised. But on the other hand, God gave me early on a sense of God's faithfulness, God's utter reliability, God's presence in the midst of suffering and loss and death. I sense that God is my true parent, my true father. And I knew from early on that God created all things and that even in the face of terrible loss, God is there to comfort, that God is there to heal and to redeem, and that we can trust God. Throughout my whole life, I believe that God created all things, God loves all people, and really only wants the best for God's creation, but that people often struggle to trust God and to believe in God, and therefore move into self-destructive ways, pursuing their own ways and ends rather than God's ways. And so the sense of the duality of life, suffering with joy, loss with comfort, creaturely fragility with God's faithfulness, it's only grown deeper in my life as I've grown older. Testing came most profoundly when my husband almost died 2 different times, which would have left me as a single mother with 3 small daughters, just like my mom. But each time God's presence was so overwhelmingly real in my life, and God's people were so supportive, and God's love, I would say, really sustained me through these difficult times. And gratefully, my husband made it through. In terms of belief about humanity, I was raised in a tradition that believed all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And I still believe that we've all sinned and we do fall short of the glory of God. But I now find it biblically more faithful to put more emphasis on that we have all been created in God's image, or as Bishop Desmond Tutu put it in his wonderful book of the same title, Made for Goodness. We have all been made for goodness. And so my calling is to always try to see what God has placed as God's image in other people, who they are in God's eyes, rather than letting sin and brokenness dominate my perspective. And so it means, even in difficult times, such as we might be in, it means seeing others with eyes of love and kindness, and rather than cynicism and skepticism. This is, as MacDonald would say, through seeing people through the eyes of Jesus.
That's beautiful. And is there a correlation for you with, as you described, that sort of shift in emphasis from the falling short and the made in the image of God in your own life that has attributed to the way that you can remain at peace and feel not despondent, as you say, as life presents its hard times along with its good?
Very much so. Very much so. And I do feel like part of the challenge, Derek, is to see our lives as beautiful as gems, but really gems in the hands of this immense loving Father. Our lives in this history that we're in is very important, but it's all so small compared with the universe and the eons of time. And so it really helps me in times of contemplation to just step back and say, wow, God's faithful throughout all generations. And this is my trying time and my opportunity, but it's not the beginning and the end. It's circumscribed by God's love. And so, yes, being able to say God created it all and God sustains and redeems it all really helps me through any kind of difficulty, I would say, for sure.